every weekend, well, pretty much every weekend, we're going somewhere. And that's one thing that we love about Kenya is we're stationed in Nairobi. We can take a 1 hour flight and we're immediately at the coast, which is beautiful beaches. Or we can either drive 5-6 hours or again, take a 45-minute flight and you're in safari.
Hey expats and travelers, I'm Josh with Expats Everywhere, and in today's interview I sit down with Dave and Tracey, the 2021 Travel Influencers of the Year in Kenya, and they talk about their expat life in Nairobi, moving from Canada to Kenya. If you guys enjoy stuff like this, we ask that you hit the subscribe button to learn more about living abroad.
Yeah. So I'm Tracey and from Canada in Nova Scotia. So I was kind of born and raised in Nova Scotia, lived there my whole life. This was actually the first big move.
Yeah, so I'm Dave Manny. I'm also from Canada, originally from Montreal, where I lived for 24 years of my life. Then I actually moved to Nova Scotia in Halifax, where I met my wife, 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Sweet. And what did life look like before you guys moved to Kenya? What were you doing? How did you feel? What was up?
It was very different for me. So I was working shift work as a nurse in the hospital in Halifax. So didn't really have a routine, but we're always busy with work. Not much travel going on, maybe like 1 or 2 trips a year, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, it was pretty much the same for me for the first about 4 years. When I arrived to Halifax, I was also working in law enforcement. I was doing shift work as well. After that, had a more stable schedule within the last 2 years before leaving. But yeah, that 9 to 5 kind of life, and going out on the weekend, and that's pretty much it. One trip a year with my wife, and that was it.
Why did you feel like you guys needed to make a move? What was happening kind of internally where you felt like, okay, we need to get out of here?
So I don't want to say that our life was boring in Canada, but it was, that average life. You go to work in the morning, you come back, you make supper, watch a little bit of TV and go to bed. And, about like 2 years before making the move and actually moving to here in Kenya, we started to watch a lot of YouTube videos about other couples who were traveling. And at some point we were like, if they can do it, why can't we do it as well? Try to do something similar. And that's where the original decision came from.
Yeah, and it was probably like a year ago that Kenya kind of came on the map for us. And even then I find it was kind of like a distant idea, a distant dream. And well, we're here now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's quite a jump from the dream to making it reality. So what did you do kind of in that in between? How did you make it a reality?
So at first our idea was to move to a different country. Kenya came later on. When we had the idea to move to a different country, we wanted to live something differently. And this is why we didn't move to the United States and we didn't move to Europe or Australia. We wanted to live something that was completely different. And Kenya was, unknown to us, completely unknown. We knew nothing about it. So this is where the decision to move to Africa came from originally, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. We wanted something completely different culture even, and well, we got it.
As far as possible at what we knew, basically.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, you guys do fit a profile that we like to have on Expats Everywhere, where people are just curious and they just want to go and experience something different. It's not because they're unpatriotic, but they just want to experience something different.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so you went through that process of kind of doing the research, and you were telling me off camera that you did the research a bit late. So that's fun. How did you set up your move? How did it go? And what was settling into Kenya finally like? Did it take a while?
The funny part is we started the process for all of this when the pandemic hit our country. So that was a whole different set of issues that we never even really thought was possible. Even like 2 weeks before we left, we still weren't sure if we were going to be able to get there on time or anything like that. So that was challenging.
Yeah, for sure. But the reason why we decided to move to Kenya basically is we wanted, like I said, something that was completely unknown. And, I moved here originally because of my job that I had back in Canada. They have opening in a bunch of different countries, and Kenya was one of the positions that I was able to apply for. So I was able to apply for, 3 different countries, and Kenya was our first one.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of our research that we did, watching other people on YouTube mainly like do videos about Kenya, but also the possibility through my work that, that Kenya was a possibility basically. So a little bit of the research and a little bit of the job side as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as the visa goes, you were able to get a visa through your job, and then there was a spouse visa attached to it. Is that right?
Yeah, the entire process of moving here was, a lot of people have to do, a billion different steps to move here. But I was very lucky because it was through my work. Then, everything was done for me basically. So that was a very easy process for us. And like she said, especially during the pandemic, like that was
not
the
ideal.
best way to go when you don't have to do too much paperwork.
Do you find that to be kind of the common story of a lot of expats that have moved there, that they are getting their visas through a company rather than trying to do it on their own?
Yes, I would say like mainly like expats that we know, they either were born in Kenya, from British people that came years and years ago. So they're 2, 3, 4 generation in Kenya, but the majority of people came here for work. There's a lot of embassies, a lot of private companies. There's a lot of expat. The expat community here in Kenya is huge, especially in Nairobi.
Oh, nice. Well, what things did you guys need to do to adapt to your new life there?
Well, as if anyone's watched our videos, traffic was a big one. And personally, I actually still don't drive because you add the traffic and then you add driving on the opposite side of the road. So for me, that's just not a thing.
I would say like, being far from everything is a big challenge. Friends and family, everything is different. Like your daily life is completely different. But we knew that before coming here. So I think we were like well prepared mentally.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that I feel like if you know there's going to be a change, then you just know you have to put yourself out there in it right away. The more you try and if we tried to avoid driving ourselves or things like that, I feel like it would have made the experience a lot harder. Yeah. But once you get over that initial bump, which is probably like 1-2 months, I would say, then it starts becoming like your everyday life, your home feeling, that type of thing.
But I think that the overall adaptation was very easy for us because even though it was a big change, we wanted that change. Yeah. We moved here for that change, right?
We welcomed it.
So I think it was overall kind of easy for us because this is exactly what we wanted.
Oh, that's so brilliant. So you had that kind of internal motivation. It wasn't motivated by something external like money, which is a motivator. Some people are motivated by that, but you had that internal desire to step out of your comfort zone. So that in and of itself helped with the adaptation period.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And then to cope with not driving, you just decided not to drive.
I guess that's
I drive, most of our, we travel every week.
Yeah.
And I would say like 85-90% of our travels are all done, via the road. We bought like a 1994 Land Rover Discovery, all jacked up, ready for safaris and stuff.
A 1994 clutch that I don't trust myself on, so that's why I'm not the driver.
It's quite challenging.
Listen, absolutely no shame. My wife is the driver of the two of us. I don't like driving abroad. I don't like driving in the U.S., let alone abroad. So.
And driving on the other side of the road too was quite a challenge.
Yeah.
But you know what, now it just feels normal, and when I watch an American movie or something, they drive on the other side of the road, I think it's weird. So
wow, that's awesome. You've been there 9 months and you've already kind of adapted to that. So speaking more about the adaptation, was there any person or anything that you found particularly helpful to get you through that adaptation period?
The fact that we moved here because of my job, the adaptation was made very easy because, we showed up, we had a house ready to go. The only thing I had to do was to find a car, basically. Like all the rest, I had a job aligned, a house, groceries in the fridge, like, everything was great. So we were very lucky for that. But on the other side of the world, like our family was also like very supportive.
Yeah.
So I think that really was
Yeah.
helping us a lot too.
Yeah, and like especially we came in and we decided to do like the 2 week quarantine anyway, even though Kenya didn't require it. So not only that, like as a spousal partners, like it really strengthened our relationship. I think it can like make or break. I'm not gonna lie, it sounds harsh, but when you have to rely on that person for everything, like it really,
Because we showed up in a new country, we didn't know nobody,
No.
and now we just have each other, right?
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, you can't just go to your friends or your
No.
mom's house or something, right? It's just her and I. So
yeah,
but we're a stronger couple now.
That's awesome. Yeah. Give a big high five for that. That's awesome. So you guys spoke about there being this big expat community. How did you get involved in that expat community? Is it pretty easy? Facebook groups? What was that like?
There is for sure a Facebook group, but the organization I work for is mainly expat. So through work, it's very easy to meet people from different countries, basically.
and some of our neighbors are.
Yeah.
So I kind of, as much as I'm an introvert, I kind of made myself like put myself out there, and that's kind of opened our bubble too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, okay. You're definitely not an introvert to me on camera. Like I've watched enough of your all's videos to get the sense that you've got a great camera presence. You really bring in like good energy levels.
It's good to know because if
highly-
you go back,
If you go back to our first videos, it's quite different.
yeah, it took me a
Okay.
longer time to get used to being in front of the camera than it did for Dave,
Yeah.
for sure.
For sure. Like now we are almost like 150 videos later.
Yeah.
If you go back to video 1 to 10, it's quite
It's fun.
different.
Practice is key, right? Okay, so you have your work, which gives you a good foundation of friends, or at least people that you can meet. Hopefully they'll become your friends. And then how do you meet locals, or have you guys had the chance to really meet locals and become one with your local community?
Yeah.
I think that the YouTube channel helps a lot.
Yeah.
Because we're always in public places, in restaurant and hotels, and when you show up with a big camera, like you're the center of attention, so people are like drawn
What are you
to
doing?
us, like just asking what we're doing and stuff. So that's how we were able to meet local and make local friends as well.
Yeah.
So I think the YouTube channel actually helps to make friends for sure, 100%.
It did, because we also like encourage like our subscribers, if they see us, to come up and say
Yeah.
hi and everything like that. So we've actually created some friends with subscribers too, which is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, Kalie and I are doing the same thing. We're currently in Portugal, and yeah, we tell people, hey, like, don't be scared.
Yeah.
Come up, walk up to us, let's go. Like we are normal people. We are just like you. We just sometimes turn a camera on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, what's been the most difficult thing then for living there and settling in?
I think for me personally is, as I mentioned in the very beginning, I had lived in Nova Scotia in my hometown for my whole 25 years. So that initial being away from home and everything, like I would just drive down to my sister's house in the afternoon if I had nothing to do. So that was a very big and sometimes still hard adjustment, because we haven't seen our family now for about 10 months. But Zoom and FaceTime and all of that, it makes life easier to cope.
Yeah,
with being away.
moving to another country and another continent was literally
Yeah.
like starting our life from scratch again. You move somewhere where you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
You don't have like you don't know where the grocery store is.
Yeah.
You don't know where you can't get anything, right? So
Yeah.
it's literally like I guess moving to another city would be the same thing, but it's just starting your daily routine all over again.
Yeah.
Okay. And what things have you learned about yourself during this process and adaptation period?
Ooh,
That's a good one,
that's a
actually.
very good question. Let me think about it.
I would say like I'm more resilient than I thought. I thought I was going to have a harder time coping with being away from family and everything.
Yeah.
But I think knowing that before we left and kind of prepping myself for that, yeah, I kind of surprised myself.
Yeah.
And like you said, like how you think I'm an extrovert, well, that surprises me too. So I came out of my shell.
Yeah. I think that, on the professional side for me, I think I'm going to have a very hard time to go back to a 9 to 5 job back
Yeah,
in
you
Canada
Yeah.
without the possibility of, going on safaris for a weekend.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be quite something to go back to, a normal life.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
not only that, Kenya does have like extra things to offer. Yes, you have your safaris on the weekends and things, but I find wherever you live, you don't tend to treat that area
That's
as
true.
you were a tourist. So people would come to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and they would discover way more than me, and I'd lived there my whole 20 years.
Yeah.
So I think we need to get back into that mentality wherever we end up after this.
That's for
and
sure.
keep that.
Canada has so much to offer, and I visited 100 times more places in Kenya than I did in Canada. So maybe we'll do that eventually.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, you touched on something just a moment ago, kind of talking about not wanting to go back to your daily life in Canada. So what does your daily life in Kenya look like? What does normal look like in Kenya? Besides traveling on safari every weekend.
Well,
A lot of work.
that is the big difference. For sure, like my life in Kenya is much more busy than it was in Canada, because in Canada I was, waking up in the morning, go to work, come back from work, and nothing was happening. Now I wake up in the morning, I go to work, and then I spend all my evenings, editing YouTube videos, answering emails, and social media stuff. Right? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And then on the weekend, this is where we do almost 100% of our filming. So our life here, there's no time to be bored. Like we just don't have time to be bored.
Yeah.
So it's quite busy.
Yeah.
So would you say the key differences would more or less be self-imposed because you've decided to take on this kind of side project? Okay.
When we first arrived here, we decided to, film everything and create content more for friends and family.
To show them what we're doing. Yeah.
Because, we're doing kind of the same thing in Canada, doing random YouTube videos, recipes, and fitness challenges, and whatever.
All over the place.
Think about it, we've done it. But when we moved here, we started to make, really like travel centered content. And, we arrived in Kenya with about like 830 subscribers, and now we're going strong towards 50,000. So because of that crazy curve, YouTube started to take more and more space into our daily lives.
Yeah.
And now there's a possibility that if we stay here for a few years and start traveling outside of Kenya as soon as COVID slows down and there's less restrictions for international travel and things like that, then eventually that could be our full-time job as well. So we're dreaming and working towards that slowly but surely.
Awesome. That is so exciting for you guys. 50K is right around the corner for you all.
It's crazy. Didn't expect that.
I've got a few more questions, but actually we've alluded to this channel multiple times. So tell us a bit about your YouTube channel. What can people expect?
Do you want to go? Or?
Sure.
I'll jump in.
Let the experts speak.
So basically, our YouTube channel is more about the travel side of things, as we mentioned. Every weekend, well, pretty much every weekend, we're going somewhere, and that's one thing that we love about Kenya is we're stationed in Nairobi. We can take a 1-hour flight, and we're immediately at the coast, which is beautiful beaches, or we can either drive 5-6 hours, or again, take a 45-minute flight, and you're in safari. So that for us has given us a lot of opportunity on the YouTube side to show what we're doing and show kind of a different side of Kenya, because the media back home is very much focused on, like, you have that Nairobi National Park with the giraffe and that's all you see. Yeah. Or it's like kind of the Red Cross side of things.
Yeah, like the negative side of Africa and Kenya in general. And, that's what we thought Kenya was before moving here. And once we moved here, we saw so much more than that is never shown, that we decided to basically make a channel out of it and show everything that people don't know about Kenya who live outside of Kenya. Our goal is to, have people from all around the world watching our videos, and because of that decide to, take a trip to Kenya and come and see what it looks like for themselves. Yeah. Before moving here, I had no clue that Kenya had beaches, and I can tell you right now, I've been to a lot of different countries, and Kenya has some of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And, people who think that they know what safari everybody feels like, because they've been to a few zoos, you have no clue what it is. It is an unbelievable experience. I mean, yeah, it's quite something. So basically, that's what our channel is right now. It's mainly focused on Kenya because this is where we're at. Eventually, we will do more international travel. Once again, it's because of the pandemic. But yeah, there's quite a lot of interesting videos there, especially for people that have never been to Africa. It's quite something. You'll learn a lot for sure.
Well, I think it's super cool that you guys are doing tourism, but you're doing tourism as residents of that country. Like, you guys are living there. You're learning from locals in terms of things to do and places to go, and you know how to interact with the local scene better than an international tourist coming in. And you guys can help people like that.
Yeah.
And that's so true what you just said. Like, I would say like 75% of the places we visit are all suggestions from local. All our subscribers living in Kenya telling us like, hey, you guys have to check this place out, go to this restaurant, this hotels or whatever. So
I have a
really
Word
nice
document that is literally just like suggestions of where to go, how far they are from us, whether we have to drive or fly. Like, it's insane.
Awesome. Well, when the audience speaks, you guys listen, and that's super cool. So tell us, what's the one thing that's changed the most for you when it comes to life and living in Kenya?
I think personality-wise, it's made me a lot more open-minded about things.
For sure.
You'll notice if you ever watch our videos, my famous saying is like, it's so much better than I expected. But because of that, it's because I go in with zero expectation. So that way you can just learn whether it's the culture, what happens in that area, or just anything. Like, your guides, your servers, everyone, like, they always have something to teach you, and that's something I've really enjoyed being here.
I think now we're just more willing to get off the beaten path a little bit and go see what's outside of the main like tourist attractions. And I think that's something that now we're gonna do in all our travel in all the future countries that we visit. So I think that's gonna bring a lot of like cool experiences in the future as well.
Oh, it's brilliant. Well, at Expats Everywhere, we believe that living abroad transforms lives. How has living abroad transformed your life?
It did for sure. How? It's completely different. It's a brand new life that we have here. Like, I never thought in a million years that I would, as much as I was scared to go live in another country, I can't believe I didn't do it sooner.
Agreed. Yeah. And now, like we're saying, like, whether our next move, what happens if we go back to Canada or another country, like, I want to go to another country so that I can, again, like, experience all the different food, the culture, and just have like almost like another bank of knowledge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we love Canada, but I'm in no rush to return to Canada.
Nice.
I love it.
Well, before our audience checks out, I'd like to just ask them to go check out your channel. I'm going to put a link here. And if you guys want to learn more about Kenya, we have a couple videos, another interview for you to check out here. Guys, thank you so much for joining Expats Everywhere. We appreciate it.
It was our pleasure. Super fun. Thank you.
Yes.